You going out? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, it's a little bright, isn't it? Yeah, let me turn this off and see what happens. Going out? No, you don't. Okay, that's fine. Brother and I have to be brief this morning. Not that I want to be, but I have to be. I have to have cats to the vet at 10. So I have just a few minutes. Oh, I'm going to turn that light off, dadgummit. Andy, do you want out or not, buddy? Ooh, that's awfully dark, isn't it? Do you want out? Go ahead. Stay with your brother. Oh, mercy. I guess this will be all right. Howdy. Oh. Just got in from Morgantown. Like I say, got to take cats to the vet. Have them there at 10. So this is going to be a brief thing, brief session. Not that I necessarily want any of them to be long, but this one's going to be brief. Afternoon. Well, let's see here. It's raining. It's supposed to change to snow tomorrow. Oh boy. I'm just thrilled about that. Absolutely thrilled. You know, I've been thinking a lot about different things, as you can kind of tell by some of the subjects or lack thereof. Just kind of scatter shooting. Put it on full auto and spray and pray kind of thing. Last night, I was sitting there before I dozed off, getting ready to watch the West Virginia basketball game, West Virginia University. And I was thinking, and I think I brought this up once before, but it's still on my mind. And I can't quite piece it together yet. The question is, in my mind, what what was the cause? Oh, goodness gracious, brethren, I'm sorry. I did it again. Well, bless our hearts. Bless my heart, anyway. What was the cause, humanly speaking, of several people who had been associated with Elder Smoot to return back to the Signs of the Times people? I'm thinking about two in particular. L.L. Shank, Kansas, and Jones. And I never can remember which Jones it is, whether it was the Jones in Texas or the Jones in Arkansas, or whether they're the same person. I just can't remember. I'll have to scope that out. Why did they go back? Why did Smoot cut off R.M. Thomas in the Western Association of Missouri? I've been trying to find minutes of the Western Association of Missouri to see if I can piece that out. So far, I ain't found any, but I'm not through looking. Got some photocopies of minutes coming from the 1850s from when Elder Newport, one that was associated with Elder Parker in Illinois, after he went to Missouri. I've got some coming that mention him. And then I've got two of the last minutes of that association coming to see if they maintained the faith or if they went off into conditionalism. There's an association, I'll confess, I can't remember the name of it because I'd never heard of it before. But you got R.M. Thomas standing with Elder Smoot from the beginning, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's off. You got L.L. Shank, who was also associated with Elder Smoot, agent for the sectarian. When he lived in Wyoming, Nebraska, and maybe Kansas, I don't know, or Missouri, he wound up in Kansas. You had the Western Corresponding Association of Missouri, and you had the First Kansas Association. They pretty well stood together back in the day. Well, I know that I'm 90% sure that's why Smoot cut off Thomas. Although Thomas was an old man when he was associated with Smoot. Man, Thomas had been around, R.M. Thomas had been around for years. He was a lot older fellow than I thought he was. He died in the early 1900s. Up in his 80s, if I remember right. He was way older than Elder Smoot. And there was somebody else in Illinois or Indiana, Kentucky, somewhere in that area, that I found reference to in a later Signs. But that might have been after Elder Smoot had died. It doesn't seem like they changed their doctrine. By that I mean, I think I've mentioned this before, and I'll probably mention it again because the older I get, the more senile I get. But I'd bet $1 to a donut. Cake donut, plain chocolate iced, please. Um, the Elder Winfrey believed like we do on eternal union, absolute predestination. I know he believed the way we do on absolute predestination. I've heard him allude to things in the pulpit that made me believe he was also believed in eternal vital union. And I know he was baptized by Elder Shank after Elder Shank came to Kansas. Makes me think that I know the Lord taught him, but did the Lord teach him through Elder Shank? Probably. What about was George Weaver? Maybe Weaver was served churches in Ohio and West Virginia. Lived down in Huntington for a while. He might have been another one that had been associated with Brother Smoot. And then went back to the science people. Hope to find instances in association minutes, records, etc. to figure this out. Whether I can or not, I don't know. But I want to try. But here again, if I'm right, none of these people changed their doctrine to come back. You can find little instances in the signs, 40s, 50s. I've been looking in the 50s a lot. (1950s), trying to find the relation of the two churches at Cache, Texas. So far, that's drawn a blank too. What I'm thinking is, with the death of those amongst our people that wanted to try to reconcile some sort of union with Clark Baptist, conditionalist. There was no hindrance for these brethren to come back. That's what I'm thinking in my head right now. And I might be as wrong as could be. But I think that's what it is. It's a fact, brethren. At least I think it's a fact. The soundest preachers have the smallest congregations sometimes. And it's not because they're bad preachers. Rather, it's because there's not that many people that believe the truth. And I think that's pretty straight. Jesus himself said it, "Woe unto you when all men speak well of you." Yeah, I'm yawning. Didn't get a lot of good sleep last night. West Virginia basketball game was on, and I had to cheer them on to victory toward the end. Humanly speaking, if I hadn't watched that game, they'd probably lost. No, you know better. But I did have to watch it. But listen, think about this. Look at the preachers that drew the big congregations. I mean the big congregations. Who comes to mind first? Charles Spurgeon. Wishy-washy, soft as mush. Knew the truth on whether he was afraid to preach it, didn't want to preach it, or what. But you know he knew it because some of his early sermons, man, they're all right. Oh, you cats. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Thousands. Built the Metropolitan Tabernacle. Hold them all. Still couldn't hold them all. Had to have a ticket to get in. Others, I think, are the same way. Big crowds. Soft doctrine. The novelty to go hear Spurgeon. It was a novelty to go hear Huntington. As much as I like some things about Huntington, there is as many things that I don't like. There's a fine line that we have to walk doctrinally. It's not broad, it's narrow. Because straight's the gate and narrow's the way that leads to life. Because the narrow way, few there be that find it. When Jesus himself was preaching, he preached election to them. You can read this in the Gospel of John. And many said, "This is a hard saying, who can hear it?" And many of them walked no more with him because he was teaching them about election. Yes, Moody and Sankey held their revival, held a meeting, at least one in the tabernacle, as far as if I've got that right, yes. Also, if you really want to read something nasty by Spurgeon, read the Two Wesleys, where he sings the glories of where he praises the John and Charles Wesley up one side and down the other. Don't mind him praising Charles so much but John? I don't know now. Have y'all thought about that fine line of doctrine? You know, I think it's crazy sometimes. I don't know. I say crazy.
Um, all the rain starting again. Oh boy. Anyway, what was I gonna say was crazy? I would think about, well, it's left me now, so it was crazy. Oh, yeah. It bothers me, in particular, some of those on the two extreme sides. Extreme dispensationalism and extreme preterism. You can believe anything you want, as long as you hold to those positions, either in extreme dispensationalism, and every dispensationalism in the world, a dispensationalist in the world will fellowship you. You can be anything. You can be free will, you can be free grace, you can be predestinarian, be Arminian, doesn't matter. All that's inconsequential. As long as you believe in extreme dispensationalism with pre-tribulational rapture. On the other side, if you're a full preterist, it doesn't matter whether you're a Campbellite believing in salvation by water or a primitive Baptist who believes in salvation by grace. None of those things matter as long as you hold to that eschatological position. Is eschatology meaning that much? Check the mic. I didn't touch it, so I don't know. Just a minute. They couldn't have done it. Can't blame them. I put them all out. It's as if the sound is it still? We got the audio on the highest setting. That's normally where it belongs. What do you think? I know I'm about out of battery. Forgot to charge this thing last night again. It bothers me that people spend so much time thinking about eschatology and not thinking about salvation. Not thinking about the church. Not thinking about the glories of the Redeemer. Sound is still bad. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do. Well, I've adjusted everything I know to adjust. How about now? That's the last thing I know of. One, two, three, four. 4, 3, 2, 1. something on this end if it's still doing it, and I don't know what it is. That's the bad part about it, 'cause nothing got touched. Just like it was. Well, I'll tell you, brother, that the sound is still messed up. Let's just end this. I'm gonna end this, and we'll see y'all Friday. As it could not be found.